Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, May the 17th, 2020. It is currently 9:09 a.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from Victory Baptist Church this morning. And yes, at 10 a.m., I'll be live on the air for the VBC podcast for the Sunday School Hour here at Victory Baptist Church. But as usual, I got to church early, especially it's been the usual way of doing things since the COVID-19 pandemic basically shut down the world. Because since that started, well, I come out to the church to do live streaming, and I'm the only one here. So I just come out here early, set up the microphone, and I do some live broadcasting to talk about all kinds of things. Because, well, nothing is really normal right now, isn't it? I mean, everything is turned upside down. But the reason I tell you that is because I'm supposed to be live on the air at 10 a.m. So I don't have a lot of time because I have to obviously finish this live broadcast and then get everything ready for the Sunday School Hour. But I wanted to talk to everyone about a time, I guess we can describe this time as a time of great uncertainty. And I was thinking about this late last night, and maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't. Maybe those who are in high school, maybe those who are in college, I would love to get your feedback and your perspective, and you can email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. But I was thinking about this last night. What would it be like if I was a high school senior right now? May 2020, what would it be like if I was a high school senior? What would it feel like? I mean, just try to think about this. Your entire senior year has been disrupted. Now, based on my dislike for the public school system when I was a teenager and how I literally despised my 4 years of high school as being a time of torture. I mean, I could use all kinds of descriptive words of how bad it was. It was bad. I hated every second of it. I would have probably been celebrating that basically my high school, I was given a pardon and to get out of prison early. All right. I was out of there. And Yes, as the late great philosopher. Well, he's not late. He's still great. He's not the late philosopher because he's still very much active. But the great philosopher Bruce Springsteen really described my attitude towards high school. I learned more from a 3-minute song than I ever did in school. I learned far more from a 3-minute song than I ever did in high school. Now, I'm kind of paraphrasing the lyric, but you get the idea. I learned far more from the records I listened to, far more from the songs I listened to than I ever did in high school. Yeah, high school was horrible for me. So I would have been celebrating. I'd been like, I've been set free. I'm out of prison. Yes, the whole thing has been shut down. Wonderful. Now never reopen it again. Okay. I would have been happy. But I know for many, man, that high school experience is a formative time in some people's lives, and they talk about it for the rest of their life. I mean, they're 30, they're 40, and they're like, when I was in high school, 50, when I was in high school, and they talk about how wonderful it was and how great it was. Some people, that's a great time of their life, and it just kind of like someone set a bomb and blew it all up. And that's got to be already unsettling enough, but try to look at it from a different perspective, right? You're a high school senior. Now, if you're a high school senior, you're trying to figure out the rest of your life, right? You're trying to figure out, what am I going to do after high school? Okay, what job am I going to try to get? Where am I going to go to school? And I want you to realize what's just happened. These high school seniors, how do you even plan for a future right now? What, 23? I don't even know, 25 million. I don't even know what the unemployment rate is right now. I could pull up the statistics, but some staggering unemployment rate that we're currently experiencing. We're talking Great Depression levels of unemployment. You've got businesses that are, major corporations that are going to be filing for bankruptcy. You've got industry that's laying off people. My daughter, who's a flight attendant for a major, airline. I won't name the company, but I mean, there's a very good chance now she's being told that by October, she's not going to have a job. She's going to be done. She's not going to have a job. Well, I mean, that was a major thing for her. She had to go to their the training school. She had to graduate from that training school to be able to get hired for this airline. And she made it through all of that. She accomplished all of that. She started her career. She was happy. She was excited. She got to move to Boston. Everything's going, and now that could all be coming crashing down. Now she's already out of the high school. But if you're a high school student, and you're like, wait a minute, that business just shut down. That business just shut down. How do you pick your career? How do you commit to go to a 4-year college right now? How do you commit to go to a 4-year college right now to get a degree and an industry? You don't even know what the economy is going to look like in 4 years. You don't even know what businesses or what industry is going to be hiring or not hiring. How do you even pick a degree program? How do you even pick a school? Do you try to go to school and get in debt to try to get a degree where you don't even know where the economy is going? I can't even imagine trying to make a plan right now. I can't even comprehend what a high school student, like, what do I do? Where do I get a job? Do you even worry about college right now? Or do you just throw college out? What do you do? Where do you go? If you're in college, let's say you were a senior in college right now, right? And you're about to graduate. You're about to graduate for a degree. Well, what's that industry look like now? You may literally have a piece of paper. I want you to think about this. You may have literally a piece of paper right now that is going to be of no value for the very industry, for the very job, for the very career you spent 4 years working on. Because that industry could be completely transformed and changed. So what do you do? I mean, you can't get a refund. Hey, to whatever college, to whatever university. Hey, I know I've got this education, but that industry is gone. I need a refund. Okay, can I get a refund and a do-over? Nope, they're not going to allow that. So it's got to be a time of great uncertainty, a time of great confusion. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to briefly listen to a news report from PBS News. I think it aired yesterday. And I thought it was interesting because they play some of the commencement messages that students are hearing. Now, when it comes to commencement message, the commencement speeches, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember a thing that was said at my graduation. I don't remember. I didn't care. I just wanted the piece of paper and be set free from that prison and be done with it. Okay. Because I had an agenda. I wanted to take my diploma. I wanted to go to my mother's grave and I wanted to throw it on the grave and say, there, I finished. You did everything you could to stop me from finishing. I finished high school. There you go. I had an agenda. I didn't care about talking to anybody. I didn't care about any of the students. I didn't have any friends. Didn't care about talking. I wanted to go throw my diploma on my mother's grave. You talk about a messed up life. That's how things were going for me. So I don't remember one word that was said. I don't really care what was said. I got in my car as soon as it was over and drove to the graveyard, to the cemetery, climbed over the fence, walked over to my mother's grave, and boom, threw it down. That was my graduation night. So I had other issues to worry. I had bigger problems going on in my life than what was said. I don't know if anyone remembers any of the speeches. I don't know if anyone remembers any of the commencement speeches, especially the big places where they bring in some famous person to speak. Maybe students remember them and they have some profound, they're like, yeah, those are points I need to remember for the rest of my life. I don't know. But commencement messages, speeches occurred, and most of them were done virtually this year. But we're going to listen to some of the things that were said from some very famous people. I think you're going to hear Oprah. You're going to hear the guy from Apple. You're going to hear some famous people. And what are they telling students? All right. And I want you to hear what they're telling students. Are these words going to be helpful to them? But I do want you to just think about the uncertainty all of these people are facing. I mean, everything's turned upside down. I can't even imagine trying to plan for your future right now. I can't. I mean, I feel really, really bad for them. But here is what I want you to do. I want you to listen to these speeches, these commencement messages. We're only getting clips from them. But I want you to think about this now from a theological perspective. What would be a biblical message to students, whether in college or in high school, right now, during this time of uncertainty? What is the biblical message to them? as the church, as Christians, do we have a message to them? Not the typical parent message. I'm not talking the typical, whatever parents say. Who knows? Who knows? I'm talking biblical theological message. Do we have to students right now? I mean, they're looking at a time of insane uncertainty, crazy uncertainty. Business, I think JCPenney's just filed for bankruptcy. I don't even know all the places are going to be filing for bankruptcy. Businesses shutting down. I mean, the whole economy is going to have to be reformed, and a new economy is going to emerge. There will be new opportunities, but how do you start preparing for new opportunities that haven't yet emerged? How do you even plan for college? And if you're in college, I can't even imagine. You get a degree in this, and they're like, well, nobody in that sector is going to be hiring for the next 10 years. Well, I'm glad I, spent $60,000 to get that degree. Like, where do you go? So I want us to hear this. And as we're listening, again, I want you to think about this. What would be your biblical message? What would be the theological commencement message to students? What do we say to them from a biblical perspective? Now, we could say, hey, all things work together for good. We could offer some little cliche, but truly a biblical message of saying, hey, here's how you need to approach this time of uncertainty. Right? So let's listen to what was said and what is being said, and then you can think about that. All right, here we go. All right, I know I'm trying to hurry because I'm going to run out of time. So here we go. Let's listen to this carefully. All right, and I'll probably interrupt a couple of times.
It is that time of year when graduates of all levels are usually crossing the stage, shaking hands and receiving their diplomas. But the look and feel of these events this year is, of course, quite different, almost all of them virtual. The notion of commencement, or the beginning of a new chapter, is tougher for students to imagine. As part of our ongoing Arts and Culture series, Canvas, we hear now from a variety of leaders in their fields, including my message to my alma mater on how to embrace that uncertainty.
It's vital that you learn, and we all learn, to be at peace with the discomfort of stepping into the unknown. The noise of the world drowns out the sound of you. You have to get still to listen. So can you use this disorder that COVID-19 has wrought? Can you treat it as an uninvited guest that's come into our midst to reorder our way of being? Can you, the class of 2020, show us not how to put the pieces back together again, but how to create a new and more evolved normal, a world more just, kind, beautiful, tender, luminous, creative, whole? We need you to do this, because the pandemic has illuminated the vast systemic inequities that have defined life for too many for too long.
It can be difficult to see the whole picture when you're still inside the frame, but I hope you wear these uncommon circumstances as a badge of honor. Those who meet times of historical challenge with their eyes and hearts open, forever restless and forever striving, are also those who leave the greatest impact on the lives of others.
There's no bigger white flag that's being waved in your face right now than what's going on and the adversity that you face moving into your new situation. So I encourage you to push through, continue to work hard, continue to believe in yourself, continue to surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you and support you on that journey.
Congratulations to you, chosen ones. And I am calling you the chosen ones because you have been chosen in many ways. You have not returned to the starting line like all of us generations before you. You're just approaching it now for the first time. You've just arrived. You are chosen in that way to enter into the competition of life just when so many have had to recover and refresh and restart and reawaken, and to retake up the hard work and the unshirkable responsibilities of making the world not only our own, but of your own.
When the sun shines again, the creativity of this class will shine with it. You'll go back to relishing relationships, sharing funny stories, cheering for all our Duke Blue Devil athletes.
This may feel like a daunting time to begin this next chapter. It is also a moment when the world desperately needs your skills and your creativity.
Never deny your potential. I am proof of what potential is all about. When I entered Duke University, I had no idea I would go into comedy and acting. I I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what my passion was. It was because of Duke Drama I discovered my love of acting, performance, comedy.
In my life, I've been through some incredible highs and some tremendous lows. And the one thing that's true about both of them is that they pass. So cherish the good times. And in the bad times, remember, they won't last forever. It does get better.
The quote from one who throughout his all too short life knew struggle and pain, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who in 1961 had this to say, and I quote, "All life is interrelated. We are tied in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. You will shape your future and the future of our great country and our miraculously wonderful, resilient world."
About the uncertainty, embrace it. Improvise, be bold, daring, have courage to not know where you'll end up. Your work will be much better for it. And keep making your art, no matter the circumstances, the materials available, quarantine or no quarantine, studio or kitchen table. Keep creating your music, your films, your dance. Keep making your art for today, for the future.
Each generation has a defining moment. My generation had Vietnam. Then another generation had 9/11. And now this is your time. It's great to be uncomfortable because that's when you find out just how great you can really be.
Because of the rapid progress in information and technology, your need for education, constant learning, and understanding of the world will be never slow down or pause. Continuing education will be with you for the rest of your life. Your life is not a spectator sport. Your job in life is to be an active player, to make the world a better place.
Know your worth, know the sacrifice you made to get here today to graduate, and you all earned it, you all deserve it. Help somebody out. Be great. Change the world. That's what we're here for.
What great advice. Honored to be just a small part of it.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I was a student listening to any of that, I know that I tend to have a rebellious streak, but I would have basically stood up and said, "Shut up! Just stop with your cliches and your meaningless, void, useless stupidity. I don't need it. Just stop." Because if you'll notice all the people talking, they're like multi-millionaires, billionaires. I mean, you work for Apple, you're a billionaire. You're actors, you're millionaires. You've got, they've got, they're uncertain. They still have some uncertainty to navigate. No question about it. And they still have difficulties, and they have still difficulties in life. But again, if I was a high school student or, listening to this, or even a college student. Now, yes, if you come from a very wealthy family and they're still going to be okay and they're going to maintain, then all right. But if you're a young person and your parents can't take care of you and you're like, well, wait a minute, what am I supposed to do here? Yeah, you're telling me, hey, embrace the discomfort. Hey, it's all wonderful. Hey, this too shall pass. Oh, hey, we're here to change the world. Step up and change the world. You're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a job. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to live. I'm trying to figure out that, wait a minute, I've got $50,000 of student debt, of student loans to pay back. And now what am I supposed to do with this? What the degree is not, I don't even know if the degree is useful anymore. I don't even know where I'm going to get a job. Yeah, there are people facing like absolute true uncertainty, and they come along with a lot of like a little, pep talk with just, with poetic language, trying to be all clever. Let's quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and let's just use all of this. Embrace the challenge and step up, and you're the chosen ones, and just all of this like, oh, I would have been yelling. I would have been like, just stop. Give me something better than that. Or I would have been waiting for, hey, Oprah, you've got $1 bazillion. Why don't you give me, $500,000 to get a good start for the rest of, so that I can go out and make the world a better place and more equal and equitable and justice. And I'll spend the rest of my life doing that, but I need a $500,000 start or maybe $1 million start. That would be wonderful. I mean, some of these young people don't have a clue what's going to happen next. They don't have a clue. And so sometimes those kind of messages they make me very mad. And when I say stupid, I'm not saying that the people are stupid because people are going to get irritated with me. I'm saying that the message is stupid. The message is just empty, flowery, poetic language. It's just empty platitudes. That don't give anyone anything, and don't give anything of substance. And let me make it very clear. I would hate to give a commencement speech during this time because my commencement speech probably would be like, "Hey guys, I don't know if you realize this, but you guys, it's over. I mean, your life has been." I probably would be there would probably be like people would be weeping by that time. I'm like, look, here's the situation. The world, a bomb went off and everything is being destroyed around you. And you don't know where to step because your next step may be over a cliff because I don't know where you're going to get a job. I don't know how you're going to get a job. I don't know where to look. I would probably be very negative. So I'm not saying my commencement speech would be any better. I don't know what the approach would be. I would hate to give it. So I feel bad for those who were tasked to give these commencement speeches. They were obviously picked because they're all famous. You can hear Tom Hanks in there, Ellen DeGeneres in there. Hear the guy from Apple. You hear Oprah. I don't know who else was in there. I don't know. I didn't recognize all the voices, but all very famous people, very wealthy, very well-to-do. And yeah, I mean, it's great to tell me, hey, come on, embrace it. Just let's go make change. I need something better. So here's the question. Would Christians, now these were all people in the world, would Christians, would preachers, would Bible scholars, would theologians, would they have a better commencement speech, or would it come across just as empty, just as meaningless? Lots of words, lots of noise, but no real substance. Would it be all shadow with no substance? Would it be all words? Would we just quote? I guarantee you, if pastors were giving commencement speeches, it would be like, hey, remember, in Christ, you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. Hey, all things work together for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Would they just throw out a lot of, like a couple of verses ripped out of context, offer someone some kind of quote unquote encouragement, and not really give them anything of substance? What would a true biblical commencement speech sound like in a time of unprecedented uncertainty, a time where you don't know where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the world's going to look like 6 months from now. We don't even know for sure if 6 months from now COVID-19 is not back and it's shutting everything down again. We don't even know that. That is the concern. If it comes back in the fall or the beginning or the fall into winter and it comes back and it shuts everything down, you can't even really give anyone a plan because no one really knows. We don't even know right now if school is starting again in the fall. We may be waiting till next year. We don't even know when school is going to start in many cases. Is school going to all be, remote? Is your future in college not even in a classroom? Is it going to be, you're going to be doing online courses? I mean, you don't even know what school in the future is going to look like. And again, what's the point of school in the future if you don't even know what you're getting a degree in? And even if you get a degree in it, if you're going to even have a job when it's finished? These are hard questions. So what do you come along as a Christian to say? Well, I think we avoid platitudes and verses ripped out of context, offering some kind of quote, hey, it's all going to get better, because it may not get better. I think what we have to challenge, now again, we can only challenge Christian young people this way, because for the lost person, the message to the lost person would be repent and believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Not that your life will get better, quote unquote. In other words, all your circumstances are going to get better, because Christianity doesn't promise you that all your circumstances are going to get better. But repent and believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, one, for salvation, okay, to save you from the penalty of sin, okay, to save you from eternal destruction, eternal damnation, and eternal judgment. Okay, but you can turn to the Creator And you can realize that your purpose in life is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. Whether the economy is falling apart or not, you have a responsibility to glorify God and to serve him. You're to follow him and to serve him. And for Christians, that our task, the Great Commission, go and make disciples, teach, baptize, and teach, that remains in the middle of a pandemic, no matter what is happening. That is your ultimate responsibility in life, is to be serving God, living out your Christian life, trying to minister to people, trying to disciple people, trying to evangelize people. You have a responsibility, no matter what is happening. So I think the biblical message is to get back to what the core thing is of Christianity. Follow Christ. Serve him. Be his disciple. Be a learner of his. Now, the only problem is that still doesn't help you with that doesn't necessarily help you with what you're supposed to do for a job. It doesn't. But Christianity, I don't think, has ever really truly been designed to try to give you those answers. Sometimes we try to make it sound like, hey, the Bible tells you what to do. Trust in God and everything's going to work out. That's how you can trust in God. The disciples trusted in God, right? The early disciples, in the Bible, Paul and all of them, and Peter, they discipled, and then they ended up, getting crucified, getting their head chopped off, getting murdered, getting killed, getting martyred. You can trust in God. Doesn't mean everything's going to work out the way you want. You can still find yourself suffering and being killed and dying. You can still find yourself in horrible circumstances. So telling everyone to trust in God and it's all going to work out is just ridiculous, because you may trust in God and it doesn't work out. Work out as far as you're concerned. But your focus is supposed to be on serving God. So you have to serve God. But what to do next? Don't know. What is the church? And here's a question. What is the church's responsibility to helping these young people? What is the local church's responsibility to helping young people? Now, some churches have the capability of helping them financially, helping families financially. I mean, you've got some young people. I want to make sure you understand this. You've got some young people out there in the world right now. I want you to listen to me very carefully. They don't have a family safety net to fall back on. All right. This was my mom's rule. All right. When you turn 18, the second I turned 18, I was gone. I had to leave home. The second I turned 18, you're gone. That was my mom's rule. You're gone. You're gone. Just the door, go. And I don't care. You're going to have to figure it out. Not my responsibility. Now, I want you to think about that. Now, I don't know if my mom would have kept that rule or not. That was the rule she told me over and over and over and over again growing up. When you're 18, you have to leave home, period. Doesn't matter. Not my problem. Now, I don't know. She died, before I turned 18, and I wasn't even living at home because of all the situations. And at the same time, in the middle of all that, she kept trying to tell me to quit high school and go get a job. She didn't even want me to finish high school, which was just bizarre, okay? So that's a whole... So there are kids like that with crazy situations, and where do they go back to? Where do they fall back to? Where do they go? What do they do? I can't even imagine... trying to navigate the world right now. I can't. And these commencement speeches, again, my reaction was strong to them, but I'm just like, you're billionaires. You're millionaires. Okay. And you're telling embrace all of this and go make the world a better place. And it just seems stupid in the sense that it seems to ignore the actual plight that the students are facing. It's just so empty and meaningless. But at the same time, I don't know if Christians have a better message, because I think Christians sometimes would offer the one. So what would you say to someone right now? And again, you've got and I'll give you two concepts here, and I've got to end because I'm out of time. You've got the theological framework. Hey, there's a theological framework they need. God is sovereign. He's working everything after his good counsel, his good will. And your job is to serve him, to minister, to disciple people, to evangelize people, to glorify God, enjoy him forever. That's your response. And that doesn't mean your circumstances are going to be great. That's the theological framework. Now, as far as your life, what your next step is, I don't know if you can help someone navigate them. You need to listen to their frustration. You need to listen to their struggle. You need to listen to their fear. Let them express that fear without saying, hey, have faith over fear, and try to give them some little, bumper sticker Christianity garbage, which drives me crazy, which is stupid and empty and vain and void of anything of substance. It's shadow over substance. I can't stand when Christians do that. And we have to say, this is going to, and just be honest. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next. If you're a high school student, do you tell a high school student to go off and go to college? Do you? Now, again, if they're from a very rich family, it's going to take care of everything. Okay, but even then, what's the degree in? What are you going to get your degree in right now? Now, there's some industries are going to, like medicine. Obviously, medicine's always going to exist no matter what happens. In fact, when you have pandemic, you have even more need for doctors and nurses. So obviously the medical profession, that's set. There's probably some other professions out there that's set, but maybe some people don't want to do those professions. So what professions are they looking for? Well, what are those industries going to look like? How do you, I remember in high school, I don't remember what class it was, but we had to go find, what were those books called? It was a book that outlined all kinds of different careers, right? And so what you had to do is you had to go through the book and pick a career, and then you had to write a little paper about that career. What were the educational requirements? What's the salary? What is the expectancy of that career? Are they going to need more people or less people? And those kinds of things. I can't remember what the books were called. And we had to do that in high school. Can you imagine trying to do that now? Because any information in those books about what they're expecting to happen to those careers, it's blown up. You don't know what career, you don't know what's going to happen right now. Now, you can say there's always a little bit of uncertainty. Yeah, but the entire economy has been shut down. Millions of people are out of work, and we don't know what's going to happen with this virus going forward. It's a crazy, crazy time. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there. Part of me, when I was hearing those commencement messages, they just irritated me to no end. Again, I wanted to stand up and just scream, just stop. Just so stupid. You're not saying anything. You're just throwing out words to fill up the time. It's of no value. So I don't know. You may have a different opinion on it. You may have a different perspective. Maybe you're more positive. Maybe I'm just too negative. I don't know. But you can email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, and share your thoughts about the whole thing. And again, I'm just challenging you as a church, like from a Christian perspective, what do we say? What can we offer? Because I don't want to offer platitudes, poetic, flowery, platitudes that are empty, that are void, they're vain. There's nothing there. They're meaningless. I don't want to offer meaningless words. I want to offer something of substance. I can offer a theological perspective. I can give them a theological perspective about moving forward. I can tell them what they are called to do as Christians. They're to be ministers, and they have a great commission to fulfill no matter what's going on. I can tell them that, but how to navigate the uncertainty in front of them, man, I would say you're going to need to use great wisdom. You're going to have, to be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove, I think, there, and to move forward. But, a crazy time to be alive. But I'll stop right there. Obviously, I'm just throwing out my thoughts, and probably I could organize them a little better, but I just wanted to share this, and I wanted to spark a conversation. I've now said things that probably make a lot of people mad, so now the conversation, commences. The next chapter, okay? The next chapter is your response to what I have said. newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Young people, definitely love to hear from you. High school seniors, college, if you're in college, what are you thinking now? What's the future look like to you? Like, what do you see? Like, like a young person's perspective right now may be completely different than mine. I may be trying to speak for them, and I may be completely wrong. So I acknowledge that. So young people, speak up, and it'd be interesting to get your feedback. newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone have a great Sunday. I'll be back on the air in 15 minutes for the Sunday School Hour at Victory Baptist Church. God bless.